3 tips to help you be a better English teacher here in Italy, because I do think it is an accessible career option for many people, although it isn't for everybody. However, these 3 tips can help you to understand if this is really going to be the profession for you. First tip. You need to be able to understand if you can explain the language in a really simple way. A lot of people believe that they need to use colloquial expressions and idiomatic phrases in order to really demonstrate their knowledge of the language. However, I come at this from a very different perspective. I believe that if you can explain something simply enough that a child would be able to understand you, that demonstrates a true knowledge and grasp of a subject, more so than using really fancy terms. So you need to be honest with yourself. How much do you really understand the English language? I'm talking about grammar, vocabulary in all different contexts, and how easily can you explain that to another person? Because if you are a mother tongue speaker, then of course you've been taught English at school. However, it doesn't mean that you can necessarily explain the little nuances easily to other people. And that is something that you must be able to do as a teacher. So sit with this. How simply can you explain English to another person? Do you really understand the language enough to be able to teach it to somebody else? Tip number 2. You need to be able to decide whether or not you can deal with the pressures of being a teacher. What do I mean? Well, it really depends where in Italy you teach and in what environment you teach in. But there is a lot of responsibility placed on teachers' shoulders here, and you need to decide whether or not it is something that you're willing to do. It might be that you have to start working until later in the evening. Is that something you really want to do? It might be that you have a lot of external work that you have to do once your day has finished, like marking homework and setting lesson plans for the next day. Like, your job never really ends if you do your job well. And so you need to kind of sit with yourself and be like, am I willing to do this? Am I willing to invest time into this profession? And am I willing to deal with the pressures that this job often comes with? And also the pressures of parents, of students, and managing those expectations well. And the third thing that you need to really, really consider is, are you willing to work for peanuts? I know, I've said it straight, but it's true. Teaching English here in Italy is never going to make you rich, especially if you work at a state school or even privately as well. Like, it's one of the lowest paid professions. Considering like the skills and what you do, it's a shame. Now, you can get slightly higher salaries if you work in particular state schools, but it's not common that teachers here earn a fantastic salary. So you've got to be prepared to put all this work in and achieve like the bare minimum in return. And if you are, then you might find that this job is very, very rewarding.